Absolutely, we have to, but this is what we're cleaning it up tonight. And he just wants us to have like our cleanup version done tonight. And then he wants us to be able to vote on it on the monthly meeting next
Oh,
Wednesday.
yeah, that's,
Okay.
that works.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah. All right, fine.
Mhm.
Okay.
So we're finalizing it tonight and then voting to approve it next meeting.
And
Exactly.
I'd like to think that we have a couple of extra days if there's a few questions that people have still after tonight, like, I don't know. if
Well, so
everybody's
that's
read
what
through
that
the whole thing.
really, that's what that's for any questions that anybody have when we put, because it goes for public comment, right?
Next week.
So
yeah.
we, like, people can say, oh, we want to see this or something. That doesn't mean like this is the final,
Yeah.
that's the draft.
Okay, cool.
Pete, we all have 30 days or 45 days
You're
to
right.
change it.
Exactly.
Okay,
You know what I
Good.
mean?
Okay, yes, I do.
so we're
I
voting on
totally do.
the 9th for the final draft of the RFQ.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then it goes out, does it still go out at the same timeline in August?
Well, I guess it depends on whether it's 30 or 45 days of
I think it's
comments.
45 days of comment. It has to
Okay.
be,
So what
So-
are we in?
which I'm not too certain. We're going to second from Tim. He'll be 30, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure from what I remember from him, it had to have 45 days for
Okay,
people.
So
So
it'll
that's
be
end
like
of August.
end of July.
End of July, yep. Shaheem, are you hearing all of this?
He is, and he's recording.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, okay, cool. So,
All right, that makes sense.
and so then like during this time, like we'll vote on the final draft, and then is that when we'll kind of start releasing it to all the agencies, like the Conservation Advisory Council and all those people?
Well, they
Next
wanted
week.
the draft.
Yeah,
They wanted the draft for any changes and any additions that they wanted to put in there.
Yeah, so,
So we're giving M&T, we're giving the conservation, we're giving it to whoever wants it,
okay, so 45 days.
and they have 45 days.
yeah, okay. I was also gonna talk to the library and see if we can get a document area set up in the document room so we can have a hard copy for the people who aren't necessarily able to view it online.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask him that too. Like, what does he do for the tenants here? Does he put a hard copy there for
Yes.
them to flip through?
Oh, cool.
We
She
have
does-
to have a hard copy.
Yeah,
In
I was
fact,
just wondering. I didn't know. I was gonna ask him that.
You know what we should do? We should have an area set aside somewhere that's easily accessible for documents related to this project.
Yeah.
Starting with the RFQ and moving forward,
Yeah, for sure.
so that people, they know exactly where they can go for any document that becomes,
Yeah.
you know, that's
So then-
And we
finalized.
can even put it on the computer desktop.
Yep,
Cool.
Like we can put
Absolutely.
RFQ draft and they can click right on that and
Yeah.
it'll pull all up too.
Could we have even like something that's just like paper written comments and people just like comment even too?
well, we need to figure that out. We should discuss that next week even. That's kind of like, yeah, what's the public outreach component? What's the timeline over those 45 days? We're gonna probably have a couple more of those of the tenant meetings.
And we should definitely have a couple town halls
Yeah.
during that
couple more
time.
Town halls.
Because at every town hall, we'll be bringing this and we'll be able to break down pieces to them. We can separate out tables like Claire did.
Yep.
And there, people have like 5 pages in there.
Cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does everybody seem like that sounds good?
Yeah, that sounds really good. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, and the truth is when I did read all 40 pages and most of it is not necessarily, most of it's legalese. Good portion of the second half of it is really just not necessarily anything anybody's gonna comment on because it's just stuff that has to be in there.
Mhm.
So it's really the sort of 10 pages that's
The-
kind of
The meat and
the
potatoes.
meat and potatoes,
Or
exactly.
the veggie burger and potatoes. For Rafonda.
The what? The burger and potatoes?
That's right, the
veggie
veggie
burger.
burger.
Because
Oh,
Rafonda's
fair enough.
vegetarian.
Let me tell you, impossible if you want to do that.
The Impossible Burger.
Yes.
Cool.
So I have this here.
Yep.
And I feel like the way that it's broken down, it makes a lot of sense. And, you know, Tim did a great job. And I think one of the things that we just need is like visuals,
Mhm.
you know, like here's the photographs, here's like satellite photos, here's like a photo of Bliss, like here's a photo of the low rises, you know,
Yeah.
and even possibly photos of like inside so that there's like an idea of like the state of like some of the apartments and the low rises and like, you know, why we need to rebuild and figure out a new plan, basically. Does that make sense?
Yep,
I'm just adding photos.
yep, I got it right here.
So it's basically like, first is breaking down the housing authority property, right? And the parcel on State Street. and then the housing choice voucher program. So then it's like the 130 housing choice vouchers. And then the number of funded vouchers consists of 50 vouchers. So that means, right, that we have 80 vouchers that aren't in use right now.
Mhm.
So maybe even to say that, do you know what I mean?
We can absolutely add in anything.
Are
I
we,
think that
Yeah,
we
I
should
mean, if
be,
you've got specific comments like that, maybe the thing, yeah, I mean,
yeah, I feel like, and
Maybe
that's what I
yes.
asked him in the beginning, like, are we supposed to be putting all of our dreams and goals in this thing? Or are we supposed to be just doing something real short and sweet? You know what I mean? Like,
I think there's a balance between the two.
Yeah.
And what you're talking, I mean, the question is that question,
clear enough? Is this
is
like,
that required?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like, it's
Mhm.
Clear
basically
enough.
like bringing, you know, all of these potential developers in to understand, like, this is where we are.
yeah,
This is like, you know, we have the ability to have 80 more
Mhm.
vouchers
Oh, I see what
in
you're saying.
use, but because of the fact that there isn't there isn't
Yeah.
housing, there
Yeah.
not a place to move people, you know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
like,
So
it
make
tells,
it more clear.
it tells the story,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
it tells the
Yeah,
story of where
yeah.
we're at in the city of Hudson.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, but then Tim does, he says like extremely high rental rates as a result of the ongoing gentrification that has occurred for
Yep.
many years, you know?
Yep.
So it's like, it's all there,
Yep.
but it's like, we have the possibility to be fulfilling more housing, we just need more housing.
Mhm.
But yeah, did you want to go through it like this, or how are we doing this?
I actually have a couple of questions that we could go directly to something, if you don't mind doing that.
Mhm.
What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so 3.2B,
Mhm. Get your phone out
this
for-
one was the only one
And
that
here you
stuck
get
out
this
to
too.
me as being that's something that we hadn't decided in my,
Oh, yeah, this is something we have.
right? This is, I think this may be a bit of a hangover from the PRC project. So we should remove this because actually
State first.
what we had originally discussed was doing the low rise first
Yeah.
behind.
Yeah.
So that whole section needs to be rewritten
Okay.
to reflect our intentions of beginning behind with towers.
Mhm.
And that's it, actually, of the things that were absolute must be changed before this went out, really.
Great.
That was like it. I do have,
There's the one more.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I think like I did talk about that. We talked about like I think, let me find the words where it was. Just give me a second.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of like stuff about environmental sustainability and like
yes,
green standards and like all of these things.
yep.
Hello.
Hello,
Um,
yep.
but where was it?
And also where that's concerned, that kind of language, the CAC is really keen to help.
Okay, cool.
So
The
that
RFQ.
language,
Oh, yeah. So we're going through this like RFQ request for developer. It's so small. I printed it out way too tiny, okay? So don't worry about that.
All right, 'cause I can't take it.
Whoa, hey.
All right.
can't take it though.
Oh, wait, I can't
Oh, I
go.
can't take that?
I know, I wish I could, but we only have one
Wow.
document. So we're gonna leave one in here. We're gonna make sure to have one for you so you can look it over.
How we gonna get in here? They closed the community room on us. We don't have the community room.
It's still closed.
They can always get a copy from Tim.
Okay,
All right.
we
He's
need to
always
make
willing.
sure.
You want a copy of it?
Well, I
Yeah.
think once we're gonna vote on this next week, then everybody's gonna get a
All right,
copy.
so
Yeah.
we are
Yeah.
having next week.
So next week is the monthly.
So definitely come on.
Oh, yeah, well, I have my flu shot.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, what I'm saying, next week, that's when you're gonna have your meeting?
Mhm. Our
Okay.
monthly meeting, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, okay, so I come next. I come
They
back
shall.
here.
We'll be looking forward to seeing you. I like your nails.
Thank
Are
you.
you
I like to
helping?
take them off.
Are you helping? You
fold clothes too? They're gonna fold them tonight. They don't.
Are those piranhas?
Wow.
I don't think they're piranhas.
Okay.
Do you still have that song you made? That song you made, Money Town? Never mind, we'll talk about it at the end.
All right,
Sorry.
all right. I'll be back.
So can someone just do me one favor real
Yes.
fast? Can you try to get into this meeting? Because Tim told me he was having trouble last meeting and we didn't have any people for our town hall and we don't have anybody now. So I'm just hoping no one's trying to get in. Not that I wouldn't mind.
Right. Same.
I just was so bad.
I've got no emails.
my email shut down. I just don't even ask. I'm sorry. My email just stopped working today.
No, I don't have any requests here.
All right, here we go.
Try to.
So there's no press here either?
No,
Huh,
It's
all
just
right.
us.
it's just, yeah.
Well, you know what, let's just keep going.
I mean, it's recorded. We can keep going, but
Exactly.
at least I can see we tried. Okay, you got in. Fine.
I don't know. I'm just waving at you, I guess.
All right. Thank you. Okay.
So Rebecca, what you were talking about the environmental section. And I do think there's some enhancement that should be done there, but I think we should let the CAC do that.
Yeah, so even just pointing to like the agencies that we want to talk to just so that they don't have to go
That's a
through the
good
whole
idea.
document,
Yeah.
but to be like, 3.1 or 3.2 E, like you're gonna want to look at that instead of them being like, I have to go through this whole 40-page document.
No, but they wanted to go through the whole
I
document.
think
Yeah.
they'll
They
wanna go
literally
through that.
wanted the whole
Oh,
document.
yeah.
Okay.
we have
They
to-
were
Yeah,
willing
yeah.
to help us with the whole document.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to be like, oh,
Everyone's-
this is where you want to go, but they literally wanted to help us with the whole
They
document.
want the whole document, for sure.
And so we're also like, where you're saying, right, how we're gonna do the charrettes and like how we're going to, and this is all like pretty baseline, right? This is just
Mhm.
like the typical run of
Yep.
show.
Yep.
And is there anything that we could like add, do we think, that would be like, maybe not so just necessarily the typical run of show, but maybe something that does a little, I feel like from what I've heard, charrettes can leave people wanting more. Am I
So-
just,
So I do have a couple of comments on that section. One of them is, I think I don't think there's enough emphasis on local knowledge.
Which section?
this is 3.4, I think, right?
3.4
I don't
A.
have it in front of
Oh,
me, so I
okay.
don't know.
Yeah, 3.4.
I mean, I can look at the download version.
Oh, wait.
Right?
The schematic design.
Yeah, so this is like the phase requirements. You see how
Yeah,
it says
3.4,
to hold
yeah.
a series of public design charrettes with the community and public housing authority residents.
Oh, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do this. Not on my phone. Sorry.
Why not?
Myself. It's a long story, it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. This-
Mhm.
You're talking about the word charrette or just the idea of charrettes?
Yeah,
Workshops.
Yeah.
Change the name.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think also like, just for people reading it,
I agree.
if you've never read one of these before, you might be like,
What's a
what?
charrette?
What is
Mhm.
that?
Can I tell you, I never heard of charrette until the PRC project. I'd never heard the word
Yeah.
charrette. So, I mean, I had heard never in regard to. Never.
So we could even think about like using the wording as a way to like make this like a more accessible document.
Mhm.
But it's also like, I know we have to get this out and we have a timeline and everything. So,
Mhm.
We just change the charrette to workshop,
okay.
workshops or,
Is
or
everyone-
town halls or.
Are you okay with that? Or
I
do you-
am. I love it.
Okay, cool.
However easier we can make it for people, I'm always down for that.
Kind of like to add a little bit too, that we should probably just add to this. There's no discussion in that section on the public engagement that's been done to date.
Okay, cool.
So we absolutely need to add a paragraph on that and sort of bullet what's been done. Town hall meetings, the survey,
So,
and the
like-
weekly meetings.
Survey.
So we have started to get community input on this.
And we can talk about how like HCHC has helped us.
Yes. Yep. And I think that links to the next thing that I think we need to sort of say something about, which is to be more, to utilize local knowledge, right? To engage grassroots organizations in the creation of these.
So, and especially when we're talking, you're saying about the charrettes, like we
Yes.
want to engage
And
grassroots
also, don't
organizations.
forget that, there's been direct door-to-door engagement. So we need to make it
Very clear.
clear that we want to continue to do the things we have been doing. This is not just going to be a workshop.
Right.
Yeah.
and then another workshop.
Mhm.
You
This
know,
is like a
we're gonna-
continuation of what's already
continuation of what
happening.
we've already done. Yes.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, so, yeah, absolutely. But I was just wondering, like, because I know obviously the conservation area, right? They want to add in their little piece of how they want to work with us. How do we get all the people we want connected in here? Do they take this RFQ
Yep.
and they say, like, this is where we want to be?
Yep.
This is where, that's what,
Yep.
that's how it goes?
Yep.
Okay,
This is the section that I want to comment on.
okay.
This is where our expertise would lie.
So if we just go timeline for a second,
Mhm,
like we have the 45-day review period,
mhm.
and then we're releasing it after the 45 days. Could we say like, you know, at least give them like a deadline or something, just so we have like a couple
It's in here
days?
for a deadline, right?
It might be, honestly.
Oh, I think Tim did put a little, yeah, he did.
It
It's June.
For
he has
the
June
draft?
30th in the draft.
Yes,
So he says
where's that at?
written questions and answers will be
4.6.
received up to Friday, June 18th. Final responses will be answered
Yeah,
Oh,
on
shoot.
Friday, June 25th.
No, that's
know,
gonna
that
have to
doesn't
change
work.
a little bit.
this all, because you said also that it would be released May 30th,
Yeah,
which
we're gonna have to change that timeline.
I thought like, because we had that development timeline and under that we'd be putting it out in August.
Yeah,
So I just think things are happening faster than
Yeah.
we have all decided.
Yeah.
Which is, you know,
that's not,
good. It's just like, we just
Mhm.
want to make sure it's all the
Right,
best
right.
it can be.
this
Uh,
document must be voted on next week.
Yeah,
It cannot be put out for the 45 days until next week.
Cool.
And then 45 days afterwards,
So June.
whatever day it is. And then there has to be time to integrate the comments, right, into the document.
And then the actual final document goes out.
Would be so what days, what did we say, the end of,
Like the end of
the end of
July.
July.
was that when the comments would be due by?
That's
Sorry.
what-
The
Ends
comments
of-
would come back, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then and then we have 2 weeks before the August meeting, during which time those comments would have to be integrated.
And
Mhm.
then at the August meeting, that's when we're final
Yeah,
voting.
we'd have a final,
Documents done, and now it's out.
pens down,
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
yep,
So we do have this a lot of time.
yeah,
Okay,
we have
cool.
the time we need to do it. The way, you know,
So there was something, because I met with Rebecca Wolf, because she wasn't gonna be able to be here today, so I wanted to know like what her comments were on it. And one of the things that she did say was this idea of the master development agreement
Mhm.
and wanting to like move away from that wording. So maybe we can just like, I'll just like say that.
what didn't she not like about master
She doesn't
development
like the
agreement?
use of the word master.
Master as in the whole.
Yeah, I think it's like also about, you know, using language like specifically and with purpose, I guess. I don't know, but she is not here, but I just want to put that out there because she did say that. But I just logged it, it's in here.
Mhm.
Got
And
it.
then, so we have, this is just like super basic. Well, I was wondering, oh, green building initiatives just for CAC, just, I know they're
Yeah.
gonna look through the whole thing, but just in case.
Mhm.
And the pilot, which means that then we would be going
Yep.
with the IDA.
Yeah,
The only thing before I forget, before it gets off my mind, is the one thing I wanted to change is the role of the authority. And yeah, let's change that right
Yeah,
now.
so I think, and Nuri explained it to me because I mentioned it to her as well. And, oh gosh, where is it? I have to
what
find it.
section are we actually looking
We're
at?
looking at, I think it might be, oh, I did have one other question, but let's just stay on this for a second. Okay, so big thing, right, is this. This is our goals for the project. So just so we're like all on it, this is 1.15. Just so you, where is it?
Is that the roles?
Yeah, this is like our goals for the project, like our main major goals, you know? And
And
so,
where is it? Where?
so this is, I just wanted to highlight this,
Mhm.
but where? I like this highly qualified and experienced teams responsive to the needs of the authority. Yeah, this is like, he talks about the Hudson River. And
I'm looking for the one, it's easier for me finding it in my phone, but
Oh, yeah, if you want.
it's the one, I'm on, it's the one where it said the Hudson Housing Authority would be taking over the role of management or whatever. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? And I
Yeah.
thought early on, we talked about the developer taking on the role of managing for whatever, how many years that they would take on that role, whether it's 5 or 10.
So I think,
I have to admit that that is not something that I recall us discussing.
yeah,
You mean removing HHA as the management, so Hudson Housing Authority, we would no longer, this board.
No,
would
I
no
thought they
longer
would
manage?
like oversight. Like, I thought
There
that,
was a conversation about that, but I don't remember what exactly the topic
I
was.
thought that they would basically be oversighting
Uh-huh.
and teaching people the proper ways of handling, because we're going from this small place to like a larger,
Absolutely.
You know what I
There's
mean?
no question that a developer would have to engage in that, I mean, there would be an awful lot of new systems that.
right, that's what I'm
we
saying.
Would have,
right.
we would probably have to hire additional.
But there's
staff.
something in here that says the Hudson Housing Authority would be taking over that role, and I
I
don't,
think
should,
that-
I mean, you don't want.
yeah,
You want
no-
this board to continue to have.
oh,
control. Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
but there's nothing in there saying that the developer would be like basically guiding us.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
there's
there-
nothing in that.
Okay, well, there obviously needs to be.
I'm trying to. So basically, we just want to make sure
I'm looking.
Okay.
that there's gonna be, I know, I'm like, where is this?
I do.
Oh. But this is not. So maybe it's this, like, proposal should clearly describe public-private partnership opportunities.
That's not it.
Are highly encouraged to ensure that the development, operation, and managements are implemented by the most qualified and experienced partners. The authority envisions a significant role in the project, including maintaining ownership and
Yes.
management of the project upon completion.
That's it.
So basically here,
Where is that?
you're saying, oh,
It
this
is.
is 3.2 I, and like the last sentence. So maybe it's just to add something in there that's like to have the assistance of, the developers to assist the authority with management, or like some wording around that.
Yeah.
To ensure that the transfer,
Mhm.
the transition from what we have to what we're going to have
Yeah.
is smooth.
Mhm.
We understand the systems, we have
Yes.
staff.
Yes, that's exactly
you
what I
know,
mean.
that kind of
Training.
I don't mean like
thing.
giving them the power. I mean like
Got it. Yeah,
teaching
oh, yeah.
everyone
Oh, yeah.
properly.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So like to assist the authority with training and management of staff and future development.
Well,
That's exactly what I want to see.
Cool.
You guys with me?
Yes.
well, what do you got?
Perfect. Okay, cool. So we just have that in there. So so
Well,
I did have,
isn't that's what Jay says though, right? It says we'll be seeking terms and conditions that recognize a significant investment of resources, including funding, land, and roles and responsibilities anticipated by the authority throughout the process. Right? That's basically telling them like, we expect that from you.
Yeah, I guess right.
will be seeking terms and conditions that recognize its significant investment.
I think that addition works.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's like
Okay.
the whole thing, like, I think, that's,
Reiterate
Yeah.
things.
this is saying like, we are providing a lot, like the land, funding, roles and responsibilities.
Yeah.
All proposals must provide for a sharing of development fees, revenues, and cash flows from the project. I mean, that all sounds like as it should be.
So then look at L2, because that addresses what Vonda brought up too, to make sure that that's how you want it said.
Consideration by proposers and are only preliminary project goals. They are subject to change with refinement and discussion through the planning and development process. Proposers are encouraged to independently consider the options and opportunities for development of the project that provide the greatest benefit to the authority. Okay, its residents in the community. The authority will bring to the project its ownership of the project site, property, and asset management expertise, resources, experience, relationships, and expertise in managing and operating affordable housing in the city of Hudson. The selected proposers will be expected to contribute its expertise in public and affordable housing finance and development, its access to capital, its sophistication in development, financing, and project management, as well as its ability to work successfully within public-private partnerships. So Claire, you're totally right. Maybe this is the place to say that we also seek the training
Yeah,
of staff and management for the future development. Perfect. That makes so much sense.
Yeah,
you could put it in both
Both?
places
I
though,
was gonna
because
say.
both is like,
Yeah,
the
Both?
more you.
I would
Yeah.
say put it in
repetitive-
both. I would say put it in both.
reiterate.
I'm just doing a plus,
Yes.
and I will know what that means.
Yes.
No,
I have an editable copy, so I can like easily make these edits. Or just give it to Tim, whichever one we want to do. Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because then we're saying, we have all of this expertise in management, but we also want to ensure that, the authority will be trained and ready to go
Yes.
with like new residents,
Mhm.
possibly with a
absolutely.
bigger development.
Different everything.
Okay, cool. So, okay, you have another thing?
I have two.
Okay.
I think one thing that's not, and I don't know exactly where we put it, but I don't think the big question has been adequately highlighted.
Hmm.
The big question of whether we redevelop or or rehabilitate Bliss. And I think that needs to be a little
So,
more.
Is this where we make the decision? Or
No.
do we wait for them to come to the table
We're
and
waiting
tell
for them
them?
to come.
So we're telling them in this that that's a decision that we need them to help us. make.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Yeah, so that's
maybe,
not in there very
it isn't.
strong
Do you-
or clear.
do you think it
No.
makes sense to have the way that we tell them to be based on the town hall that happened last week
Sure.
with like resident information?
Yeah.
Like, does that make sense to be like, this is the meeting that we
Yeah.
had, this is how people feel about it, this is our big question.
And the survey,
And the
and
survey.
the survey, yep. We just need to make sure that the big question is obvious, that is a part of what they have to help us do.
Yeah.
And then we make it clear that we've already collected data
Yep.
on that, like
Yeah.
that we've done that part. So
Yep.
it's absolutely one of the first things that
Mhm.
needs to be answered.
Yep.
So should we even put this like so far as in general information? Like the housing authority has been
Yeah.
doing public outreach in order to,
Yep.
okay,
Right
so
up front.
add public outreach on the big question.
But it could even be like, it could even be described as instead of public outreach, like we did the public outreach
Mhm.
in response to this being the main question that
Yeah.
we need help with. Like, this is what our dilemma is at
Yep.
the moment.
Is the dilemma.
And obviously, this is what's gonna be a big part of what's gonna inform
Yes.
what emerges as a
Right.
project plan. So that's.
Okay, cool. So like this is the dilemma. So this is why we've been doing this
Right.
outreach and this is how we've been doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then basically we're talking about outreach, we're talking about, working with HCHC here, and then we'll also additionally talk about the outreach. Where were we gonna put it? I think maybe this is the training staff. This is the future design phase requirements. So yeah, I guess this would all just go in general information. Does that
Yep.
sound good?
Yeah. But you can reiterate it because you can also put it in the section on community outreach.
Yeah,
I would reiterate
but
it.
the section on community outreach with the charrette
Yeah,
is on the development strategy or the scope of services for what we're asking.
I see what you're saying.
So it's almost like,
You're right. Yeah, I mean, you could reiterate it in some way
Yeah.
there.
or you put it in the introduction and then put it in the general
Yeah, that's what I'm
information.
saying. Yeah, yeah.
Like
or
that? Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
Yeah, you could do that.
Like this is part of the intro.
Yeah.
Here are our goals. This is why.
Yeah. One of the goals is to decide what to do.
Mhm.
Does that make sense to you? To have it even be just one of our main goals for the project, to be that crystal clear, like,
Absolutely.
Okay.
We can't
And,
move
like,
forward until we know.
I think making it known that it's an expectation, like it weighs heavy on how we move forward with them, how they decide to engage
Yeah.
people with answering that question.
It's so essential. I don't know how we have a plan unless we answer that question.
Yeah.
To people's satisfaction, right?
yeah,
We can't have a plan. I mean, we could start with the low rises
wha-
while we're doing that, I suppose.
What question are we talking about right now? I'm sorry. Are we talking about?
Redevelop or not,
Or knock down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So we just want to put it in there that for the developer to know, like, that's one of the main things you have to sit to the table with the people
Mhm.
yeah,
yeah.
before we even start designing anything.
Yeah.
You have
Mhm.
to
We need to
tell us
finalize
what's
that.
the real
Yeah,
best option.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, because it says, you know, our goals are to replace or rehabilitate existing public housing units located in the low-rise units in Bliss Towers.
Mhm.
It's almost like we need the wording that's gonna carry that weight of it.
Yep.
Rather than just, you know, B of 1.15, you know?
Yeah,
Exactly. And I think we
So
should somewhere use
this-
the word transformational,
yeah,
particularly with regards to Bliss Towers, that this is not just, you're gonna put some cladding
right.
on.
And wherever there's
If-
land available, because that was part of our
Yeah.
conversation yesterday with Tim also, that like there is more land available. So
Yeah.
it's not, it doesn't have to just be this property, but it's
Yeah.
HHA. So like
Yeah.
helping us find a way to sell and package it
And go.
Yeah.
so that
yeah,
it makes sense and it
Mhm.
doesn't sound like we're pushing people out. Like,
Yeah.
so that the project makes sense up front. It's not a long drawn out process to give a vision
Yeah.
to the community.
Yeah.
Like it's very clear from the get-go where we're going.
I think that should be in the goal.
So, yeah, do we want to add the goal of to possibly, you know, develop housing on additional city-owned properties?
Of
Is this-
course, yeah, I definitely want that in
Because
there.
that's something that we're
Alright.
actively working for.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
people on the board working towards that.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So it's almost like we're basically just saying like we would like to. I feel like that makes a lot of sense to add that as one of our main goals, like
Mhm.
we, because
Mhm.
yeah, the more housing that we can build, the more people that we can
Mhm.
serve. Cool. So I had a question, but it's really, I think, a Tim question because
He should be, what time is it?
it's
He
just the
told me
like
he'd be here at 6:30.
like the basic thing is like we're the co-developer for the design and rehabilitation or redevelopment of existing public housing and new affordable housing development, right? So what we're talking about too in our goals, the rehab or redevelopment, right? This is the same language that we were just talking about in the goals, right? And so also additionally that we're the
You're talking about the title here, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about the
yeah,
title.
Yeah. I think, can I just say, I don't know, Tim might consider it too vague, but I think we should almost just say co-developer for, can I say
yeah.
co-developer for the transformation of existing public housing and new affordable housing development. I mean, just the transformation of Hudson Housing Authority property and land.
Is there somewhere in there that like I've never written an RFP, but is there like a storytelling section, like in the introduction,
Yes.
is there space to say like, this is where the rest of the city has moved in the past 10 years?
Yeah.
And this is
There.
where Bliss had, HHA has been
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
That's why transformative makes sense. So it does,
Yes.
because it still sounds like in the context of just talking about this, when you say transformative, it's still scary. It still sounds like someone's coming in and doing
Right.
something
Yeah.
different, but it's like, it's really, we're trying to allow these folks that live here to be a part of the change in Hudson.
transformation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is their time to get a
part in
quality
that.
of life.
Yeah. Oh,
But I think that the history of where Hudson itself has gone in the past 10 years is necessary, because it also speaks to like
Mhm.
where the other boards in the city are at when it comes to development.
Yeah.
Like they want this just as much, so they're not gonna face a bunch of adversity as our partner when it comes to development. 'Cause that, I
Yeah.
mean, people were
Yeah.
here in the past trying to do this and got shut down.
Yeah.
So that's a scary thing when they hear working with Hudson.
yeah.
I think we should put that in there
So-
to welcome them.
So even like, okay, so it's like a couple of things that we're adding in the introduction, right? So like, I feel like the last thing you said is basically this idea that like our city's agencies know that we need housing and they're ready to respond to that for
Mhm.
like the first time
Yeah.
ever, right?
Yeah.
So,
We have. Yeah.
We have
we've been
we
working on
have
developing-
cooperative boards.
Mhm.
We have been developing relationships with other city agencies who are ready to partner with us
so
in moving forward with a transformative
yeah.
development of HHA property.
So I think in this case, it would strengthen this too, if we go before the common council and we go before the planning board
That's what we're gonna do.
So, and then we can have that in there. We've
Yeah.
already presented
So-
that this development project is.
Where does that fit in this timeline? Like before
We've
our
got-
next
We
meeting?
just have to pop it in before August. And
Okay.
So well, we'd have to look at the city councils, what their schedule is, but we should make sure that, I mean,
Tom usually sits in on these
Yeah.
meetings. I'm surprised he's not here. so.
yeah. I mean, we could just, on next week, the following day, submit it to the city council, the mayor's office, planning department, CAC,
yeah,
all the various parties.
I'm pretty sure the informal meeting, yeah, we could really just get it off to. everyone.
Yeah, just have Tim submit the document, create a document room in the library.
Okay, and then we can add that in August with the final product to just be like, we've already done all this outreach as well, like everyone's aware. You're not gonna be stepping into this and being, people are like that. So that's a really good one. Okay, and then, so then the other part is there's like as part of what you were saying about the storytelling, like telling the story, like not just about like the agencies that are there, but like I want to make sure that there's like that other language that you wanted to put in there. Like you were saying. Like I feel like you were just talking about like, like
About where Hudson is?
yeah.
Yeah, I think just finding a way to frame that, like, everything has changed, like, there's more people are coming in, trying to create affordable housing. And just the influx of people
Yeah.
is creating a need for this property to keep up with just the architectural design of the city.
Mhm.
Like, we're just stuck here in this decade
Yeah.
and everything has progressed.
And then we could even talk about urban renewal, right? As far as like the introduction to this
I
property.
actually quite like the way that Claire just put that.
Yeah,
I
the
think you
influx of
should just
people.
Lift that right there.
So the,
It's stuck in 1973,
the
stuck in the 70s.
stuck. It's basically, okay, and basically the place where we actually talk about this in here is in the introduction when we're talking about the housing choice vouchers. Like that's where this is, where we're talking about gentrification, we're talking about lack of interest from property owners to provide affordable housing, so all of those things.
I just think it's so, like, when we talk about it, I don't think people understand like how much power we actually have as the housing authority. Like, we don't do anything but affordable housing. So
Yeah.
like, as a landlord, we don't have the concern of like, I mean, obviously we care about getting our rent back, but like we're protected. Like these properties are like, we can actually build and provide, and like the city is willing to give us more land to do this. So just making it like as clear as possible that like we're the people. Like if you want to make yourself look good for being the people who came in and created affordable housing in Hudson and met the need, this is the way to do it. Because it's not
Okay.
possible any other way. Like nobody has figured out how to create more affordable housing in the city
Yeah.
yet. And we have the power to do this property and then some.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah, no.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing, is like,
I did see Tim on. I don't know how. Oh, there he is.
okay, cool.
I know you had a question. for
I'm
him.
here.
Hi, Tim.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
What you all talking about?
We're talking about the beautiful RFQ you did.
Oh, thank you. So what do you have any questions or comments, or you guys have any suggestions?
Oh, we definitely broke down a lot.
Good.
We've done really good, but everything is good. We're just doing like add-ons.
Yep,
So
yep, that's
you
cool.
did an amazing job.
Yeah.
I agree.
Good.
I only have one last thing.
Okay.
There's no mention any here, and I don't even know how feasible this is, of encouraging whoever is our developer to work with us in grant writing. That it would be
Oh.
really good if we could have grant writing assistance in this. It's there.
no, can we put it here, right? Because we're saying the authority will bring to the project this, and we expect the developer or the proposers are expected to contribute this.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Sorry. I hate spiders. It's okay, I'll be all right.
but I think that's the place to do it. I'll get it. Don't worry.
That's a big ass.
It
Here,
is.
Here, I got it. Just don't kill it. We're gonna be fine.
I'm sorry.
Correct, so funny. Put it on here.
Oh yeah.
The developer's already
your
like,
pen.
nah, these people are crazy.
Get your pen.
Hello, dude.
Oh
Oh my gosh.
Okay, we're so ridiculous.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
Spider guy.
Sorry,
In the
that's
way.
it's just me. It's a really big spider and I don't want to get bitten. All right. I mean, not like tarantula sized or anything, but
That looks like a baby tarantula, yeah. Just born.
Hi, everybody. I just joined after the inclusionary zoning meeting. It's Rebecca.
hi,
Hey,
Rebecca.
Um, I just wondered, did you guys talk about the neighborhood preference policy at all?
No, we have not.
We haven't made it there yet.
Okay, but it's on the list of stuff.
Like, let's talk about it now.
Yeah, let's talk about neighborhood preference policy.
She is saving the hell out of.
So, I mean, my question about it, I mean, so essentially it's a way that, basically like, it's a way to try to reverse like literal displacements that have happened. So such that people who have been living in a particular area but have had to move out, can basically be given preference or priority in the housing, in like new housing. And I just was like, we were unsure whether it was something that would go into an RFQ. Like, would it be something that a developer would address, or is that more city policy or what? So I didn't know if Tim might know about something about it.
Well, I did read through the information you did send, and I believe it's a city policy that has to be adopted at the city level. And then once the city adopts it, then there may be opportunities for, us to kind of streamline it into our project somehow, depending on the particulars of, what the policy is stating and what the goals and objectives are. So I think it really should be presented to the city first and adopted. And I think that's how it's initially started. And then, once it's a city policy, like any other policy, we can refer to it as part of our project. So
Okay.
maybe it's something you take up at the council.
Yep.
And see if they'd be willing to adopt it. And I know the case study that was in the information you sent, I think the mayor kind of that community kind of spearheaded that policy initially.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
So, yeah.
All right.
I'm not just going on my phone, by the way. Oh, I didn't. Okay, so I have some notes from.
Sorry, we're just looking at stuff for a moment here.
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay, so actually, Tim, I did have a question about the introduction and 1.7.
Yep.
So, okay, so basically we split the housing authority site up into two sites, right? And so we have site one, which is Bliss Tower, and then site two, which is State Street site. So site one is Bliss, and then also the low rises and the vacant lot, I guess, in the back, right?
Yes.
And then site two. So I was curious because I know that the actual site map for the property is not actually divided up. It's only one parcel. So I was curious if you were dividing the sites like that just to kind of, I was curious if there was a reason, because I was thinking that if there wasn't necessarily like a legal reason why, that maybe we should talk about it as 3 sites instead of 2 sites, right?
Yeah.
So to say,
Yeah, I think it's in the semantics, we can figure it out any way we want, but I
Okay,
think
cool.
I was really kind of referring to two separate projects, but you're right. It's all on one deed. It's technically, even though there's a road that bisects the property, it's still
Yeah.
on one deed, but I was just referring to it as two potential redevelopment projects. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think, well, this is one thing that I know Craig at Code Enforcement would be very happy with us if we amended the parcel, because it has a city road running through it.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
means that there's like, you don't know who actually owns the road, if it's the housing authority or the city.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it creates some confusion, but the reason why I actually suggested this is because if we're talking about this as site 1 and site 2, I was thinking like, if we're talking about a phased project, right? Site
Yes.
1 can be the low rises
Yep,
and the
yep.
vacant lot. Site 2 could be State Street and site 3 could be Bliss Tower.
Exactly.
split it up into
Exactly
two.
right.
Does that
Yep.
make sense?
Yep.
Yes, 100%. Yep, yep. Yep.
Your
It's my
phone is
phone. I'm
blowing up.
sorry. Just don't worry. Um, so do we want to do that to
Yes.
divide
Yeah,
into
that
3
sounds so
sites?
good.
Okay,
Sounds
so
good.
plus site 3, because then we're giving a really good idea of like the phasing of a project.
Mhm.
Like, so site 1 could be low rise.
Excuse me.
The Vintite.
Oh yeah, bless you. Low rise and the vacant lot. And then we can also say that the parcel is all one parcel.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And yeah, maybe we should say that plus parcel. Because I do know that Craig would be very happy if we did that. Like,
Let's make them happy.
yeah. And so site 2 is State Street. And then site 3. So then we would just have to figure out the acreage, Tim.
Yeah, we'll have to, I'll have to look on the map. I have a scale ruler. We could probably figure it out.
Okay, cool. And yeah, because if we can do it easily, I think it could be a really like a good way to break it down. Okay. What else? The goals. Yeah. Do we want to even, Tim, maybe we could even have like a meeting and go over, just like in the office, kind of go over what we did do
With
today.
Tim, what
Yeah.
you've got there, yeah.
Yeah, would you want to do that? Is
Mhm.
that,
You guys, the three of
do you
you
want to
should go.
go?
I don't know.
We could go.
Sure.
Putting in more meetings this week.
So then I guess like the other thing that we really have to do, right, is the criteria for developers, right? And just have like a really firm criteria of this is what we want, and that's already built out and built into the RFQ. But I was
Yep.
thinking that we could have a really easy way to just be like, experience with LIHTC, experience with green, sustainable, or regenerative design,
So
experience.
something that we would use when we're going through the responses. you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like our own kind of like worksheet.
Yep.
And that we can show residents and they can be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like I want that one, or
Mhm.
just to kind of make an easy thing. So I can definitely do that.
Sounds good.
So just remember, so the RFQ really is kind of the initial starting point, right? It gives kind of a general information and a basic idea of the goals and objective of the housing authority, right? So it starts that process. So it allows the developers to submit a response. Then
Yeah.
through the interview process, which we'll have a one-on-one interview with all the responders where we'll sit down and physically talk with them. That will be, a continuation of the level of detail and what we expect as far as our goals and objectives, and then really get an idea of where they stand on how they think they can meet our goals and objectives, right? Then from there, once we select the developer, then we'll even get into a higher level of detail of our goals and objectives and what we hope to achieve through the master development agreement. And that'll really be the technical, legal process and codifying all these roles and responsibilities as we finalize that agreement with the developer. So there'll be a series of, phases and a process that we'll go through, but certainly as we move through these different stages will clearly articulate what it is we expect and what we want. And it's going to be important for us to convey to them and articulate what it is we want to achieve through this project, as far as equity split, ownership, management, developer fee, you name it, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Design, you know, how we're going to move forward with the phases of the project and things of that nature.
That sounds great.
Tim, just so you know, this is Marie here. There's some really good comments that were made before you arrived. So if you know you're gonna meet with, you'll see that nobody's saying very much right now, but there were a lot of comments. I mean, not a lot, but you know, some good comments.
Yeah, I'd actually like to see it. So I don't know,
Yeah.
Rebecca, do you want to meet sometime and go over the document, or?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just let me know when.
figure out a time. Yeah. Yeah, sometime next week. I'll come in before our Wednesday meeting.
Yeah, okay.
What?
You need to give enough time to revise
I know, so maybe, because I can't do it tomorrow.
about Monday,
I could do
Why
it Friday.
Friday.
I could do it Friday morning, Tim.
Yeah, come on in.
Okay, great. Free Friday.
Claire's gonna fill in for me.
So what, like 11 or 12?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm in at 8.
Okay, great. So sometime from 8 to 12.
Yeah.
No. Probably like 10.
I'll be waiting for you.
All right, great. Put it in my calendar now. You'll see me do it.
Can we do 11, please? That's much better.
You saw me do the sliding. I'm the same way. Yeah, well, you go on lunch at 12 though, right, Tim?
Tim likes
Well,
to establish that.
yeah, we can do a working lunch. It doesn't matter.
Okay, very cool. Making it perfect. Done. All right, great. I feel good about this.
You do?
Rebecca, do you have more questions?
This Rebecca?
Yep.
I was wondering, there were just things that Rebecca and I talked about yesterday. I'm not sure if they got all talked about. They probably did. But I was curious about the phrase master developer. Like, I've been talking with some other developers, and we had agreed to not use that phrase just because of the connotations of it and like the language problem of it, and that we were looking at alternatives, like something like community development agreement or like community developer, some things like that. So I just wanted to bring that up because it seems to be a phrase that can be, I don't know if it's like an industry term that can't be replaced, but it seems like it can be replaced from other conversations I've had.
Is that directed towards me?
No,
It would have to,
towards the document.
It's yeah, I guess towards the document.
Do we want to change the document?
I wouldn't know if we can.
I don't know either.
I guess Tim would have to find out.
Yeah.
Well, the MDA Master Development Agreement is an industry term. I haven't seen it termed anything other than that in all the projects I've been involved with. So if the people you're talking to know something different, then maybe it's possible, but I'm not aware of it.
Okay. I'll try to find out.
Yeah, I'm not aware of it being called anything other than that.
Okay. I shall look.
So if Rebecca Wolf, if you figure anything out, you would be able to have that to Tim before Friday end of day.
Yeah, so is that what everybody figured out, is that we have to turn it in on Friday? Is that?
Well, we want Tim to have all the revisions
Yeah,
and be
yeah.
able to have it done by Wednesday. So
Oh,
we
by-
want to give them some time, and we
Gotcha.
don't want him to work over the weekend.
Yep. Yes.
So I think I have all this.
I know your schedule. I'm like,
Oh.
I never have one. Say no.
I should say no more often. Okay, I feel good about this.
Me
I
too.
feel like
Me
we talked about it a lot before I guess everyone got here, and I have a lot of I don't know if you can see this, Tim. Probably not. There's some red pen, but it's all positive.
Oh, that's good. Well,
It's
let's
just
discuss
because
it Friday.
Okay, great. Sounds great.
Thank you everyone for being here. I
Thank
hope
you.
everybody has a wonderful night and stays dry. And I will see you all next week. Please feel free to reach out to myself, Tim, or Claire if you have any further questions or comments.
Yep.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks.
You're welcome. See you Friday.